Welcome to the Zono Sports Show, where you know Zo knows. Season's done, but people want what they want when they're popping at this time of year. Paul George gave Indiana the deuces because he wants to play in LA as a free agent in 2018. Informed them, hey y'all, I won't be back next year. I'll be in LA. I'm from there. That's where I want to ball. And can you blame Paul George? What do they have really going for themselves in Indiana? The Pacers, ever since they lost that core with I want to say it was Lance Stevenson, Paul George, and George Hill, I should say. Ever since that core hasn't been intact, this team hasn't been much to look at. I went to a game when they played LeBron back in those days. That team was good, but they haven't been able to put these guys on the floor. Yeah, Miles Turner is great, but he's not a guy right now that's going to win you a championship. Indiana, they need to salvage whatever they can right now. Trade the man. Send him to LA. Get something for him, because what he did was made the market very short for you guys. Because by saying I'm not going to be here in 2018 anyway, teams can shortchange Indiana and say, hey, well, you know what? You're going to lose him regardless, so you should take this deal and be happy with it. So PG-13, he's made this movie rated R really quick for Indiana Pacers fans. He's smart. What he did was saturate the market and made it, in a sense, created a low asking price for him because he doesn't want to go play for a team that's garbage. This whole situation, though, with him, it's kind of like, it's going to be like in Indiana this season, living with an ex, and they didn't pack up their stuff. You guys are still sharing the same apartment, but you're just not speaking. That's the type of atmosphere that you don't want on an NBA roster, let alone any professional sports team, because it ruins the dynamic in the locker room. Indiana, make a move before Paul George dips on you anyway. It's got to happen. Better late than never. Sooner than later. But better late than never. You got to make the move. The Cavs parted ways with GM David Griffin. Somebody pulled the fire alarm in Cleveland and said, you know what? We lost in the finals to this Warriors team. They beat us 2 out of the last 3 years. We've got to make some changes. Yeah, David Griffin's responsible for getting Kyrie, bringing Kevin Love over, getting LeBron maybe to come back, but LeBron's his own business, so he was going to come anyway. However, the results on the floor just have not they have not translated into championships. Yeah, you got one last year, but if you watch what happened, the gentleman's sweep, that was humiliating, demoralizing for the entire organization, the city of Cleveland. Dan Gilbert himself says, hey, David Griffin, thanks, but no thanks. We're going to go ahead and get you out of here. And who are they going to hire now? LeBron? I mean, he could put together a team, right? According to Draymond, who had on that Quickie shirt last week. Don't forget about it. Long live the Quickie shirt. Failed operation by David Griffin is probably how Dan Gilbert feels. Yeah, you brought all these pieces together, but what did you really accomplish? Because evidently, if they can't win another championship with this group, there are some players that don't belong. So I'm sure Cleveland will make some adjustments for next year, but Golden State, don't be fooled, will be the team to beat. Trust the process is what they've been hollering in Philadelphia for the past couple years. That was Sam Hinkie's phrase that he said a long time ago, who's no longer there. Now I want to say it's Brad Colangelo. Now I hope he doesn't get all the credit because Sam Hinkie is the guy who had to go through that public humiliation and public scapegoating that a lot of the media tossed onto him because the Sixers stunk. They were a garbage fire for years. But what have we seen? We saw them get Ben Simmons. We saw the development of Joel Embiid, even though he had limited minutes. We see what the Sixers have been doing. We see the process unfolding. Now, the process is almost complete, I should say, because the Celtics, they traded the number 1 pick to the Sixers. Danny Ainge even comes out and says, so what? We're going to draft the same guy that we're going to draft at 3 anyway. And that guy that I think they're going to draft, Jason Tatum, he is in play for the Celtics. Why do I say that? Do you remember when I told you about Avery Bradley not being the the first option for that 2-guard spot? They'd rather have somebody there who can maybe score, do a little bit more with the ball. Now, Jason Tatum, yes, he can play some defense. Avery Bradley, that's his central focus. You bring in Jason Tatum, a bona fide scorer who dominated at the college level against upperclassmen, and you bring him in. He's NBA ready right now. You have a second scoring option to pair with Isaiah Thomas, so therefore you don't have to let him go. I really like what the Celtics are doing. I don't like Josh Jackson as the pick for the Celtics simply because he was inconsistent for me when it mattered. In the tournament, he was a guy that couldn't find his shot against Oregon. I watched that game, and the man just struggled. And I'm concerned about the off-the-court issues with the hit and run. And then there were some other issues as well. I am concerned with a lot of stuff that Josh Jackson has going on. But I think he's a fantastic basketball player, but not better than Jason Tatum from Duke. So if you're the Celtics, you're happy about this because what did you get? You get Brooklyn's next first-round pick for next year, and you've got the Sixers' first-round pick for next year. And yeah, this process is fine and all, but even with Ben Simmons coming back, he'll be a true rookie. Even with whoever they'll draft, I don't know, Markelle Fultz, that's the name that's been coming up. They're still going to be behind, so you'll still get a high first-round pick from them, as well as the one from the Nets. So bravo to Danny Ainge. He has been working there in Boston, and I think he's got them on the right track. And Boston is definitely going to be a contender for years to come because of the way that he's carefully managing this. Give the GM of the Year 2019 to Danny Ainge. He's earned it. He will earn it. Now, WNBA, Diana Taurasi from UConn, one of his stars, became the league's all-time leading scorer in the WNBA. So congrats to you, Diana Taurasi, being mentioned among the likes of Cheryl Swoops, among the likes of Cheryl Miller. These players are ones who were transcended and took the WNBA to where it is now. Diana Taurasi, you earned this, girl. You a baller. You've been a baller. Excited to see what you do for the rest of your career. Sorry your team's not that great this year. I want to say they're 6-5. Not outstanding, but they'll get better. UFC fighter Tim Hague dies post-knockout from a Canadian-sanctioned boxing match. 3 knockdowns in the fight. Now, 3 knockdowns is a lot of knockdowns. He gets knocked out on the 4th knockdown, I want to say. Now, who's at fault here? Because when you have a referee out there refereeing a fight, you expect there to be some sort of regulation during the bout. Now, the regulation of this bout was egregious and unprofessional. Now, maybe they didn't stop this fight because the referee thinks to himself, he's a UFC fighter. That may have played a role in the judgment of determining whether or not he can continue to fight because he kept getting up. But UFC and boxing are 2 different sports. Yeah, his pain tolerance might be high, but the responsibility of the ref and the people around that fight is to simply say this fighter cannot continue, whether he's standing or not. So I think it's very unfortunate that Mr. Hague dies. But I think we'll hear more about this boxing match simply because it doesn't make sense for someone to get knocked down 3 times and look the way that he looked in the video. If you haven't watched that video, go look it up. And we say the fight should still go on. Not cool. Not cool whatsoever. Now, golf-wise this weekend, to wrap it up, the U.S. Open headlined the weekend. Justin Thomas from the Ville shot a 63, 9 under. That's a record for the U.S. Open. He didn't win, though, faltered on Sunday. Brooks Koepka won the U.S. Open. Now, a ghost from golf's past named Tiger Woods is trying to be better at life, let alone golf. He said via Twitter that he's getting professional help. I don't know if you remember, he had the DUI for the prescription pain meds. So I really hope Tiger can pull himself out of this rut and come back and win a major or 2. Catch that golden bear. Go get him. But, life, things happen. People have to grow. Tiger's growing. So what can we expect? I mean, he's not immortal. He's a person like me and you. But I do wish Tiger the best. Now, continue to watch Zono Sports. No show Tuesday. Remember, it's the summertime, and I'll be out of town. But make sure you watch Zono Sports next week. We'll have plenty to talk about what happened in the NBA draft. And also, are you keeping up with Major League Baseball? Keep up with Anthony Rizzo's situation and running into the catcher. I think they might change some rules about that. The catcher blocking the plate, being an obstruction, the baseline. They'll have to change some stuff up because he did run into a catcher last night from the Padres, hurt his thigh. Curious to see what happens with that. Want to see if Cody Bellinger and Aaron Judge continue to hit home runs. They got 20 on the year, the rookies. And then also, can the Astros continue to win games? That's what I want to know. Now, make sure you keep up with Zono Sports via Instagram at Zono Sports. And thank you for watching the Zono Sports Show, as always, where you know Zonos. P.S. You avail this Katina Powell video. When it comes out, it is going to be a bombshell. If you didn't know about that video, Too Funny TV by this guy named Jason here in Louisville. Go check it out. He hasn't posted it yet, but he should. And I'll catch you guys next week. Take care.